Hey kids, this is Aaron from the podcast that wouldn't die, and Kevin and I use Zencastr. You think you're better than us, that you're using something else? You're wrong. Zencastr's the place to be. Who are you to deny it?
It's now super easy to record a podcast with Zencastr. Log in using your browser and start recording a high-quality podcast right away. Record studio-quality sound and up to 4K video with your guests. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code DIEHARD and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. We want you to have the same experiences we do for all our podcasting and content needs. It's time for you to share your story.
Only a fool would give up a chance for a 30% discount.
From the laboratories and arsenals of all civilized nations, the most powerful, the newest, the most devastating of weapons blast into action in their effort to destroy all monsters.
Welcome to the latest episode of the podcast that wouldn't die. I'm your host, Kevin. With me, as always, is Aaron.
Hello.
This week on the podcast, we're going to discuss the science fiction classic, Destroy All Monsters, starring Godzilla and Rodan and King Ghidorah.
And then some really shitty monsters. I'm like, who the f*** are these monsters? These are Play-Doh Joe.
They look like
One
shit.
guy looks like a poop. What is just a dinosaur? What the hell?
There was. No, and honestly, even the ones that you knew and loved, the costumes looked so shitty. They looked so
I
lousy.
feel like they spent millions of dollars creating all these beautiful little models of the towns. Correct. I mean, I can only imagine how long that took just so you could light it on fire. And then it took about 4 minutes to come up with the monsters. There it is.
Like Gumby and Mr. Bill. It was horrendous.
If only. Yeah, it was more of a Mr. Bill than Gumby. They didn't have time to smooth it out. Yeah. Come on, friends. And Mothra's not the same without the twins. No, although I swear to you, that tarantula was right out of stolen by Sid and Marty Krofft, because that looked like one of the little spider dudes in H.R. Puffin stuff. Had those same kind of charm eyes.
Oh, 100%.
Cling and clang.
Cling and clang. Each week on the podcast that wouldn't die, we discuss guilty pleasures and forgotten classics of the horror and sci-fi genres with a comedic twist. Aaron, what's the latest?
For Mother's Day, I just sat in my room and cleaned out my closet. Like, this is how I did it while watching The Babadook. So it's 10 minutes of clean, followed by 20 minutes of laying on the couch, followed by I hop up and do another 10 minutes. So I'm just about done. I started about 10 a.m. There's still like 4 shirts laying on my bed. And trust me, it wasn't that much because my closet's tiny.
Did you not do anything for Mother's Day? Was there no
my son
special...
made me breakfast. And I got a dirty... Yeah, that's something.
You're like, you got a dirty what? I cut you off. What does that mean?
And a dirty finger. And he volunteered to drive to Trader Joe's, which is something he never does, just to get our spicy sauce. And I myself barbecued. So there we go.
Oh, okay. You celebrate.
Yeah, once again, Mother's Day is always more like Child Day. It's always Child Day.
It is 100%.
But I forgot how disturbing The Babadook was. I was like, well, what do I have saved? I have got Rosemary's Baby and The Babadook, but I haven't seen The Babadook since we recorded, and that was the only time I saw it. So I was watching it, and knowing my previous knowledge, I was like, it's even more disturbing once you realize the twist. It's worth a rewatch. It was very upsetting. I was like,
it's very upsetting.
I'm like, maybe this. Why not Heredity? I could have done a double whack pack.
Oh, no question. No,
that
Babadook is
kid
bad.
Though, man.
You want to smack the kid for the first half of the movie. Second half, you want to smack the mom. Those are your choices.
God.
It's
And then I forgot the end where she's down feeding the thing.
Feeding the Babadook.
Like it says the Babadook never leaves you. So if you think about what the twist is, you're like, it makes sense. You're always kind of keeping the demon in check.
It's true. Well, what is it? You're always an addict? You're never like
You're
cured?
always an addict. You're
Right.
never cured.
Sweet Jesus.
Woo!
So that's not the same thing as Destroy All Monsters, though. That's for sure.
No, not quite the same level of intensity, but I was happy to see Baby Godzilla, which I don't even know what it is, because it looks not. I don't know who the mother is or who the father is, because we're not really sure what Godzilla is, but it wasn't the same monster.
Well, I looked it up. First of all,
it could not be the same monster. Whatever sex Godzilla was, bred was something entirely different.
In a previous movie, and don't ask me which one, Godzilla finds an egg, and the egg hatches, and little baby Godzilla, whose name is actually Manila, like
Millie Manila,
Millie Vanilli.
Girl, you know it's true.
That's right. I always thought it was like Godzuki or some shit like that. It is not.
Yes, I think that was in the cartoon, the Saturday cartoon. It was Godzuki.
Right. It's Manila.
I'm writing that down.
Write it
Godzuki.
Sweet Jesus. So he's in that.
Well, that's very disappointing, because that's not how eggs get fertilized. So you're saying it's just like a stray that Godzilla found when he was out getting an espresso or going for a walk?
Well, Bruce Wayne has a ward that's Robin, right? So maybe Manila is Godzilla's ward.
Godzuki's ward. We're gonna call.
Do they still have wards? By the way, are you like a wealthy person?
His youthful ward. Let's be clear.
That is true. That is true.
I think they have them in Thailand.
Oh, sweet Jesus! In Bangkok, is that how? That's how they
One
roll?
night in Bangkok and the world your oyster.
No, sweet. Okay, let's get the train back on the tracks. Give us your 30-second synopsis of Destroy All Monsters.
Aliens, slightly below the level of the aliens from Plan 9 from outer space, hit Japan, burrow into the base of Mount Fuji, where they free all the monsters on Monster Island and use them to attack Japan and Paris and Berlin and the whole world. As a preliminary strike, is that what it is? Just to tell them, warn everybody to back off and leave us be? Because the aliens could only live inside a volcano, or they turn to Mercury and they hide in a meteor. Is that about right? In the end, the aliens all have to turn to Mercury and live in a crater to fight again.
Sweet
there
Jesus.
Is no explanation.
This was your movie selection. You were dying for us to do this.
This is a bad choice. I think I was thinking this is the one with Baby Godzilla, where Godzilla steps on his tail and he poops out a little smoke ring.
Like I said, I think that's a previous one. And the one
it is a previous one. First of all, it has a badass name.
Destroy All Monsters.
Right? Destroy All Monsters.
Correct.
I'm sure there was an equally badass Japanese poster laying around here somewhere that we could all covet. Unfortunately, this movie was slow.
It was
and the monsters were not interesting. It was a little boring, kids. Once again, Baby Godzilla does in the end steal the show, but the rest of them are trash.
To jump ahead, the problem with this movie is that this movie is boring. The movie's about the people.
Yeah,
this movie's about the people being upset with the aliens. That is 90%. Like Godzilla for Godzilla and all the monsters are being controlled by somebody until like the last 5 minutes, and then Godzilla goes rogue on his own, essentially. So
do you
Godzilla
think this is where they got the idea for Godzilla -1? Let's make it about the people this time. That was about the people.
But that was good. That was good. Godzilla was doing Godzilla shit in that one. In this one, Godzilla is a puppet for the entire movie, along with the other freaks.
Oh my God. Was it Rodan? Which one was like the Play-Doh stiff bat that didn't even move? They just swung it around on a string.
There were a lot of monsters in this. A lot of monsters. Because you got Godzilla, you got Rodan, you get larval.
Which one is Rodan? Is that the bat thing?
The pterodactyl is Rodan.
Oh, is that what it is? You know what we don't have is the turtle with the jetpack.
Gamera's a different universe. Gamera does not interact with Godzilla. That's totally different.
Not true. That's a lie.
That's true.
I don't believe you. Gamera! Gamera's
different. So you got Rodan, you got little Manila, Minizilla, or whatever the hell his name is. Then you've got, and I'm going to butcher some of these names, you've got Anguirus, who's kind of a spiky-backed, turtle-y looking thing with like a snout.
All right. Yeah.
You've
like
got,
a pig turtle.
Like a pig turtle. You've got Gorosaurus, who is literally a dinosaur with the little hands. He's like a Tyrannosaurus.
It's a rubber toy. Shit. Yes.
You've got Manda, who is like a kind of a serpent-y looking dude that pops up and looks like fucking shit.
Literally does nothing the whole time. His head pops out of a rock like twice.
He kind of slithers around at one point doing his fucking thing. King
what
Ghidorah,
I'm hearing is after the fourth monster, they just couldn't come up with any new ideas, so they just threw dinosaurs at us.
These are all creatures that appeared in previous movies. Okay,
continue.
Sometimes, and what's funny is usually they show up to fight Godzilla, and then Godzilla kills them before the movie's over. But somehow they're all back. They're all back and alive and in good and friends. They're all friends in this movie.
They're all friends because of whatever sphere they have over Monster Island. But you neglected to tell me the name of the tarantula from HR Pufnstuf.
That one I forgot. I think it was like Pumunga or some shit like that. It was.
I hope it is Pumunga.
Not Pumunga, Kumunga. I believe I could be wrong. I could look it up, but I'm not going to. It's Kumunga.
I'm less interested now that it's not Pumunga.
And there are some like brief cameos. You see one homie kind of fly by. Titanosaurus. I don't remember who these. Valon. I don't remember. They kind of appear and then don't really participate in the fun. The main evil monster. There's only one monster who's always evil, and that is King Ghidorah, who shows up because all these other monsters are from Earth, but the truly evil monsters are aliens. When the aliens come down. So King Ghidorah shows up with 15 minutes left in the movie and is promptly murdered by all the other monsters.
2 seconds flat.
They kick
including
his ass.
Baby Godzilla, who knocks one of the heads. And his shining appearance blows his smoke ring, and it lands around one of the 3 heads of Ghidorah, or whatever the hell you said, and strangles him with his smoker's cough. Perfect.
Correct. God, and King Ghidorah is like, because it's a 3-headed winging thing. That thing looked like total shit. When they zoom in on the head.
This should not be confused with the work of Ray Harryhausen.
Oh, hell no. They look so, the problem is some of these costumes had been around for a while and it basically started to deteriorate, which, okay. But how about no close-ups of Ghidorah's jacked up face going, like, with like shit hanging off and like come on. What do we get some crazy glue? Get a little duct tape, do something. Don't just throw them out there and say good luck.
Anyway. Yep.
So you had never seen this before, is that correct?
I thought I had, but if I had, I must have a trauma response would have been to erase it from my memory. But I
That's good.
think I did not. I've never seen this.
I mean, honestly, I have not seen that many of the Godzilla movies really at all. Like I'm vaguely familiar with them, but I haven't sat down to watch them all because there's a shit ton of them. There's a million of them. Like this, I
There
read
are.
somewhere that this one, Destroy All Monsters, was meant to be like the grand finale, like the final chapter. And it was
Like
Toho Studios who did it. This was meant
we
to be it.
squeezed the last drop of the franchise,
100%. That was what they
and it
meant to do.
shows.
And the one after this is called All Monsters Attack or some shit like that. And
I thought we
also,
destroyed them all.
I guess they're back. But what's funny is in that one, it's mostly a daydream from a boy who gets bullied. He gets bullied, and then in his dream, he's on, and it's not called Monster Island. I thought it was called Monster Island. It's just called Monster Land. Monster Land, like it's a theme park or some shit.
I'm getting a little monstritis, as a matter of fact.
I don't say I blame you. Sweet Jesus. Why don't we jump right into the highlights before we give anything else away of this nightmare? Go ahead, Aaron.
I had one comment.
Please.
And is this where Michael Crichton got the idea of Jurassic Park?
100%.
100%. Thief.
That's where you got it.
Thief.
You can lean back if you'd like, Aaron.
I'm trying to read my notes, you bastard.
If you can lift them up. Sweet Jesus. Yeah, much better. Sweet Jesus.
Oh.
Take your time.
I have something down here. It says "Run to the gas!" !
Okay. In this Monsterland, and I believe this is the first appearance of Monsterland. This movie takes place in the future of like 1990 or some shit.
We got the monsters under control.
Right. They've put all the monsters on Monsterland, and there are some kind of like self-defense mechanisms around the island where if Mothra, the giant caterpillar, tries to leave the island, some things pop up and spray some kind of gas that says, "Don't go any further, Rodan. Don't go any further, Mothra." And then they go, "Okay, I guess I'm just going to chill on this island. No worries. We're all
the island seems a little small for the sheer number of giant monsters there.
It
like
does
you all got about 5 feet. It was like those cages for the big cats in the Cat People movie.
And there's no explanation as to what these things eat. There's no airlifts of like elephants for good eating. No like food getting dropped off. So I don't know what these things. Although we do see Rodan swoop in and grab a dolphin out of the ocean.
Apparently, they eat dolphins.
I guess that answers the question. I read somewhere, interestingly enough, that it's a rule, and I think I've said this before. It's a rule that Godzilla cannot ever be shown eating a person. It's a rule. They don't want it to do that.
I believe we had this conversation because in the 90s, my children had a giant, the thing was like 3 feet, 4 feet tall, a giant Godzilla that had people that he would eat and you'd fish him out of the back of his head. So that's a lie.
Fair enough. Oh, sweet Jesus.
Maybe you're just referring to the Japanese Godzilla.
I think that's what it is. In Toho Studios, we're like, no can do. Now, on this Monster Island, there's a research facility on there where they study all the monsters. And then there's another kind of inexplicable, like, spaceship that's flying around. Like, there's astronauts going into space to do some shit. I was like, what is happening? I didn't know what was going on.
The Star Wars ripped them off. They're the TIE fighters. Against the evil empire.
They were doing some
apparently
shit.
Japan. The aliens apparently, even though they need to have high heat to survive, can then just zip around in these UFOs.
So
messing with people.
the evil aliens come down to Monster Land and then promptly emit gas, like yellow gas, into the control room. Which, what happens? It knocks them out.
It
It
looked
puts
like
them
mustard
down.
gas. It looked like
It looked
fart
like
gas.
mustard gas. And I thought the gas put them under the control of the aliens, because the aliens are revealed to be like these. Initially, they're revealed to be like these women wearing kind of futuristic metallic costumes and talking mad shit. But that's not who they really are. We find out later. So
I think the gas knocks them out, and then what they do is, while you're unconscious, they put in the implants, and then when the humans figured out the implants, they moved to some kind of weird earrings. Earrings also work because apparently they only want to be in control of the women. I don't know. Earrings for women, implants for men.
So because
they dug one out of a dude's neck.
Correct. In the UN, there's the UN like monster group or some shit. They lose contact with the research facility. So they say, "Hey, astronauts, you're not doing anything important, are you? Why don't you land on Monster Island and do some investigations? We can't be bothered to send a ship over there or a plane or anything. How about you astronauts? You fucking handle it." And they go down. I love there.
They have beautiful costumes. It looks like an old trash can on their head.
That was
in
so
a yellow hazmat suit.
Oh my god!
With dishwashing gloves.
It was the biggest. It was such bullshit. It was literally like a bucket on their head. I was like, this is why they don't really have a Japanese space force. That's what
they keep trying to make the bucket and the Devo yellow hazmat suit work.
Where it was confusing, though, is the astronauts' outfits are all in yellow. So then they land and invade the research facility, and all of the dudes who worked there, who were under the spell of the aliens, also wearing all yellow. So I don't know who's on whose side, who's shooting who, what the hell is going on.
You do have a point there, Brother Bear.
There's multiple, and then later when you see somebody wearing yellow, you're like, oh shit, is that another thrall of the aliens? Oh no, just some random dude, unaffiliated.
A dude who likes yellow. That's it.
And sometimes that happens, I hear. Sometimes that happens. God damn this movie. Go ahead, Aaron, what you got?
I did write down two names of monsters, Manda and Baragon. Which ones are those?
Manda is the sea serpent looking thing.
And who is Baragon?
Baragon appears ever so briefly. The issue with Baragon is they say, oh shit, Baragon's attacking the Arc de Triomphe. Because Baragon's thing is he can like burrow. But I read about how the Baragon costume was basically falling apart, as were many of the costumes. And Baragon's got like these horns and shit. And when they kind of pushed his head through the floor, the shit was tearing. So they said, Baragon's attacking the Arc de Triomphe. And then they shoved Gorosaurus's head through there, even though never established that dude as being, with his little arms. How is he burrowing? Unclear. Baragon appears later. when King Ghidorah arrives, you see Baragon kind of run down a hill and then doesn't get involved in the fight at all. You never see him again. He's just like in the background.
It's so jacked up. Because after they kill Ghidorah, then there's the red lava, whatever alien monster that attaches itself to the the spacecraft.
The fire dragon is what they call it.
The fire dragon, which was not a dragon at all. It was just, once again, one of the UFOs. So correct. Why did they say it was a fire dragon?
Because it was on fire. Unclear.
They're like, oh shit, we didn't have time to make a fire dragon. We'll just say it's one of the UFOs.
Well, and again, it seemed kind of anticlimactic when you have King Ghidorah fighting like 7 guys. It's just like, what the hell? What are we doing?
And then you have what's like a tick on a spacecraft that eventually just falls off, like a limpet. And that's supposed to be the threat from the aliens, is this is far more powerful than anything. And then in the end, they're like, It's just another spaceship.
Yeah. And it
Okay.
falls down like a Plan 9 from outer space, like Pi 10. Just
100%.
clatters down. Someone steps on it. Ball game.
And then as soon as that happens, I believe the aliens just turn to Mercury and crawl in a meteor, and that's that.
Correct.
And then we just leave them there until
We
Fuji
do.
erupts and it all starts again.
You know, the best scene, the most hilarious scene to me, is when the astronauts land and they effectively capture one of their possessed former comrades, like the leader of the research station, who's now under the thrall of the aliens. They grab him, bring him back, and they're trying to talk to him. He's just kind of ignoring them and making faces. Then they bring him into an office. They're like, you know, you're gonna have to tell us some shit sometime. And they're like, what are we gonna do about this? They turn and like look away from him. He just goes, oh, okay, and just gets up and then walks to the window, opens up the window. They're like, oh shit, where'd he go? And he just jumps out the window. And then you see the shittiest mannequin flopping, limbs doing all sorts of shit.
That is literally like the last note I wrote down was that exact same scene. Where it was literally like a Benny Hill skit where it's like clearly it's not even moving. It's just kind of it's like Saturday Night Live.
100%. It was fantastic. It was beautiful. Down. I could just watch that scene over and over again of the dude just kind of huffily like pouting like, I'll just throw myself out the window. This will fix their wagon. And
that's right.
It was great.
Now what you gonna do? Oh, sorry. I guess I can't say that. I'm dead now.
I'm dead. I fell all the way down to the frickin' place below. And he's on the beach. And now a bunch of other dudes show up. A bunch of possessed guys who are like, we got to steal this homie's body now because we can't let the humans check it because then they're going to find a big old scar that we shoved the microchip in there. So then there's like the shittiest like shootout on the beach. It was like, I don't think anybody got shot. It was so long and shitty.
Dude, what movie would that totally reminds me of a current movie where they were checking the back of their necks.
Oh shit!
You know what I'm talking about?
There was a science fiction movie where people get like kind of an invasion of the Puppet Masters or something. I think there was one that was like that where it was like, I don't know.
It was something recently that I saw where literally they were like kind of on the down low trying to check over their collar to see.
Invaders from Mars had that as well, if I'm remembering correctly. It's a bunch of shit.
Anyway, the aliens lose. This is the only time you see alien men who wear brown sports coats.
Those weren't the aliens. Those were the possessed people from the.
The possessed people were brown. The rest of the people were like the Matrix.
Yes, 100%.
So they fiddle around and they pull out something that looks like a pencil that I believe it is metal. Oh
shit! Right.
Metal. Okay. It looks like a door plant.
So then the aliens leave Monsterland and set up shop. Some of them are on the moon and some of them are in Mount Fuji. And the girlfriend of the astronaut who's been possessed is just walking the streets of Tokyo for no reason. People are like, oh shit, is that her? What's going? None of this makes any goddamn sense, Aaron. I'm gonna be truthful.
Nope, makes no sense. Doesn't forward the movie. I didn't even write it down.
Because they check her and they're like, oh, we don't see the scar like we saw with the dude who threw himself out the window, and then the dude just rips her earrings off, rip, and then rip. It's like, okay, bro, and she's like, ah.
Hey.
Yeah. If you scream, you're
sometimes that's what you gotta do. You gotta do. She's the girl with the possessed earrings.
She was. And what about the dudes? Are they wearing earrings too? Perhaps. Right?
Why do the dudes have like the Norplant, but the ladies have sparkly, mind-controlling clip-on earrings?
I wish they were clip-on because they ripped them and they were bleeding. I think
was
what it
blood
was
just spraying out of the side of her ear hole.
I think what it was is when they took the body of the dude who got his ass, who jumped out the window. You know, there's a term for throwing something out the window. Do you know what that word is? If you throw
Throwing
something
out the window?
it's called defenestration. Defenestration. He was just.
That sounds like defend. To organize a defense?
Defenestration.
Yes.
He defenestrated
I'm
himself.
thinking administration. What is the root stration? What's that?
I have no idea. I didn't make
What's
up
the suffix?
word.
Aren't you an English teacher? What's the suffix mean?
I couldn't answer that. Defenestrate.
What's the prefix mean, you bastard?
I don't know. I can't answer that. Don't know the answer. But once the aliens realize that the humans have figured out, oh shit, the Nor plant behind the neck, then they're like, we got to come up with something new. And that's when they go, okay, we're not going to do that. We're just going to put cheap earrings on. And that'll possess you.
That was like the original earbud. You just pop it on and you can get all the reports.
Absolutely.
So why is our Secret Service still talking into their thumb on all the TV shows?
What you think would be a dead giveaway if they're constantly talking into your hand?
Like a curly wire and a thing.
Right. I can't explain it.
Kevin and Girodon are moving west.
Who are the people? Girodon? Perhaps.
Girodon and Kevin.
Yeah.
Friends forever.
Let it never be said. Anything else about this movie? I'm running on.
No, I took like a half a page of notes. You fell asleep 4 times. I stayed awake the whole time.
I absolutely fell asleep 4 times. There was a scene. Now I'm mixing up my movies. I started immediately when this was done. I started watching Godzilla from the early 70s. It was called Godzilla versus Megalon, where there is a giant roach that comes out of Seatopia and battles.
Ooh, I haven't seen this one. Are you putting it on the list?
Maybe, but I kept falling asleep watching that too, so it's unclear. It's unclear what's happening.
And then there's the Battle of the Gargantuas. That's going to make
that is
list
on
too.
The list. Battle of Gargantuas is on the list, and I want to talk
I
about
remember
that.
being very upset by that movie as a small child.
Hell yes! Hell yes! There are scenes when the
they're
green
like eating
Gargantua,
children. There was some bad business, and I was like, ugh.
In Battle of the Gargantuas, these motherfuckers do eat people. Where it's like there's like an old fishing boat like out in the water going la la la, what's going on? And dude looks overboard and you see the Gargantua, just the green Gargantua, who's the evil one, looking at the dude going ah. And they go oh shit, which is terrifying. And then later he's just like gulp. Nibble.
It's on the. We gotta watch it. We gotta move it forward. I haven't seen it since I was 5, so it's gonna be all trauma based. I'll have to bust out the soju or something.
And Baragon, the burrowing kaiju, appears in the prequel movie, which is called Frankenstein versus Baragon.
Okay, first of all, I don't think anyone in the United States used the word kaiju until we were all abducted by Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon.
Correct. I agree. Ain't no lie. Any last thoughts, or shall we go behind the scenes?
Are there scenes to go behind?
This is a question. Let's take a look, shall we? Let's see. I mentioned this earlier. This film is considered the last entry in the golden age of Toho's kaiju films and meant to be the last film of the Godzilla series. So there you go. But it was so successful that they said on second.
It was so successful. I'm sorry. That's sad. Yeah. What year did this come out, brother?
1967, I believe.
Ooh.
1968.
Okay.
The Japanese title of the film actually translates as Monster Total Advancement, which doesn't make a whole hell of a lot.
Also makes no sense.
Yep.
Monster Island would have been a good one, but Destroy All Monsters is a great title. Sadly, the movie does not live up. It's like buying a bottle of wine because it has an amazing label. Like maybe Snoop Dogg is on it. And then you drink said wine and you realize oh, you bastard, Snoop. But then you forgive him because Snoop's a treasure.
I agree. This is the final film in the Godzilla series to involve all four founding fathers of the Godzilla films: Tomoyuki Tanaka, the producer; Ishiro Honda, the director; Akira Ifukube, the score; and Eiji Tsuburaya, who did special effects, although he only was an advisor in this film. So after
Oh,
that, I guess they just said F
womp
it. As an apparent inside joke, the TV broadcast showing humans under Kilak control, the Kilaks were the aliens, warns the viewers to be on the lookout for Andrew Hughes, an American. And if you're looking, Andrew Hughes is the name of one of the other actors. He's the older white gentleman who's in a number of scenes playing Dr. Stevenson for some reason. So there
with
you
the
go.
weirdest dubbing. I was like, that can't be his real voice. The whole time
Right.
I'm like, that can't be his human voice.
This is only the second film in the Godzilla series up to this point, since Godzilla 1954, in which Godzilla himself actually appears in or attacks Tokyo. There you go.
Okay.
For example, in Godzilla Raids Again, he's in Osaka. In King Kong versus Godzilla, he never actually makes it to Tokyo. In Mothra
Where is
versus
he? Like
Godzilla,
in Hawaii, catching the rays? Where is he? It's
he's
all
in
shot at
Japan.
sea. He's at
He's
the
in
Mariana Islands in the
Yes.
Pacific. Where is he?
It's the Bikini Bottom.
He's in Guam.
It could be. In Mothra versus Godzilla, he appears in Nagoya. In Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, he appears in Yokohama. In Invasion of the Astro Monster, he is taken from Lake Moyojin by the Zillions, then appears in the Nagano Prefecture. And then in Ibara...
What about the
ahead.
one where he battles the smog monster? Where is that?
That's... Maybe he appears in another time. That's a good question. The smog monster.
Womp
That thing looks like
womp.
shit.
I stumped the stumper.
Let's see. Gorosaurus in this film was officially stated to be the dinosaur that was introduced in the earlier film King Kong Escapes in 1967. This causes continuity issues since Gorosaurus in that film is supposedly killed by King Kong and was said to be 35 meters tall. And in this one,
why don't they just have
taller.
King Kong there too?
Baragon was supposedly killed by Frankenstein in his first film, Frankenstein versus Baragon. I love that Frankenstein.
Which I think we need to add to the list just by the name. I think this is once again, I think Hollywood continues to borrow from these Japanese movies. This is why we have Freddy versus Jason, because of Baragon versus Frankenstein.
Absolutely.
The Japanese invented verses.
Varan was originally going to have a much larger role, as when King Ghidorah attempts to fly away, Rodan and Varan would have teamed up to fly after him and force him to land. Unfortunately, when the producers saw how deteriorated the Varan suit was after years in storage, it was decided to use a puppet and film it at a very long range, which is what they did.
Oh, not long enough.
Let's see. This was Rodan and Mothra's final regular appearance in the Showa era film. They would later return in the Heisei era, but with their appearances and powers drastically altered. Because, and we should probably say this, they kept making these movies. They didn't stop in the 60s. They kept rolling right through to the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. So
I mean, you're not here for the acting, and clearly they weren't maintaining the suit, so it costs about as much to film it as a Power. A Power Ranger episode.
Yep.
What if the Power Rangers met Godzilla?
That'd be dynamite. I'd be in.
That would be a thing. That would be a thing.
Let's look at the cast and crew. The director and writer, Ishiro Honda. You know him from such things as Godzilla, Godzilla 1998 additional crew. Good Lord.
Poor baby.
Oh, my Lord.
Poor baby.
That's the, oh, God. That's with Ferris Bueller. That was the,
You know I never saw that. You know, you just look at my face and you know I did not see
God, that
trash.
movie's so lousy. He was in a movie called Ran in 1985.
That's a real
And
movie.
he directed King Kong versus Godzilla in 1963. He basically did all of these Godzilla movies
Okay.
up to this point. Cast and crew, and this is the funny thing. Whenever you focus too much on the actors, because the actors don't really, the human characters don't matter because they don't carry
Yeah.
over film to film. You know what I mean?
No.
There isn't like, oh, there's that guy again. It's always a
Right.
brand new bunch of freaks dealing with Godzilla and his shit.
Most of the freaks always get cooked or fried. That's the problem.
Akira Kubo played Captain Katsuo Yamebe. You know him from such things as Sanjuro in 1962, Throne of Blood in 1957, Destroy All Monsters in 1968, and Space Amoeba in 1970. Look at that.
Space Amoeba.
Gotta check it out.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Jun,
Just gonna split right down the center, and then the two eyes separate.
could be. Jun Tazaki played Dr. Yoshido. You know him from such things as High and Low in 1963, Ran in 1985, Mothra versus Godzilla playing an entirely different character, and Chushingura in 1962. And I'm sure I'm butchering all these names, so I apologize.
I feel like you speak Japanese perfectly. You're fluent.
Like a native.
Where are we going?
Am I right?
Yeah.
Anybody else you want to know?
Nope. Who's that old white guy?
Andrew Hughes played Dr. Stevenson. You know him from, oh Lord, he played Adolf Hitler in 1965's Kureji no Daiboken. I don't know what that is.
Okay.
He was in Esupai.
I think it's courage.
Could be.
Courage something. Go ahead. That's my guess. Courage.
He was in, these are all Japanese films. He was in The Golden Bat in 1966.
That doesn't even sound interesting.
He was in King Kong Escapes in 1967. So, interesting.
Dude, so he's hardcore. He's hardcore. He lives and breathes. He's big in Japan. Big in Japan.
He was born in 1908 in the Ottoman Empire. That tells you how old that dude is.
All right.
Let's look at the ratings, shall we?
Let's go.
Destroy All Monsters currently has on Rotten Tomatoes 82%.
This is fucking ridiculous.
Do you know what the audience gave it?
Oh, 99% solid fresh.
66%.
Yeah.
And now, 82% based upon 11 critics' reviews and only one top critic. So you ready for this? So
let's
take it
go.
all with a grain of salt. Time Out says, in some ways, these features are more like sporting events than fantasies. Okay.
Well, who said it was a fantasy?
Unclear.
Yeah.
Now we turn to...
That was it. Let's go. Now you've piqued my interest. Pray tell, who's next, Kevin?
Now we turn to our resident in-house film critic, AI Rex Reed. Here's what AI Rex Reed has to say. Destroy All Monsters is a rubber-suited rumble that feels like the world's longest toy commercial where plot takes a backseat to kaiju chaos and everyone forgot to bring a script. Boom. Thank you, AI Rex Reed.
I think you need to release a snippet of the ChatGPT old what's his name, and we can put that on the Ticker Talker. I think that could be your new what the F.
There's a way you can do this where it's like deep fake technology. I just don't know how to do it, but there's a way you can do it where you can put these words in Rex Reed's mouth. but I don't want to get sued.
Yeah.
So
No.
there you go.
Because you have to have your own thing because they already have protections for that. So when you see it, it's being done with people spending money.
100%. 100%. Anywho, Aaron, what is your rating for Destroy All Monsters?
Destroy All Monsters, because I love Baby Godzilla, is going to get two Play-Doh monsters trying to kill me out of 5.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm giving you 2 out of 5. There's too much focus on the people, and the people were not interesting enough. The aliens were not interesting enough. I don't
The
like
monsters
that.
were not in. Baby Godzilla and his smoke ring is the only thing I really liked in this movie. And looking at the tiny miniatures before they get stomped and blown up.
Well, and when the monsters are destroying the world,
We
those
like
scenes
that.
are like the scenes are like 5 seconds. Let's cut to
Yeah.
Paris. You see a head poking up out of the ground. Let's cut to London, and there's little snakes looking around. It's
Dude,
like it's quick.
It's a half a step below the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
100%. And like I said, most of the monsters just look like shit. Even
Yeah.
Godzilla look like shit. They all look lousy.
Yeah, trash
And
Godzilla, but
I
beautiful
don't-
baby Godzilla.
I don't like Godzilla being a puppet, basically for 95% of this movie. That defeats the whole
No.
purpose. So,
But you notice
out.
in this one, his spine lit up, like in the modern day.
yes. I think sometimes
I don't remember seeing that before.
sometimes you see that the atomic fire, but what's crazy about this is there are times where it's like Godzilla's facing one direction and blowing his atomic fire, and you see it kind of curve because he's clearly not facing the right direction, or he doesn't. They know where the explosion's supposed to be, but it's like Godzilla's not quite facing the right place. It was low.
Some
budge.
adjustments had to be made. Every time we talk about Godzilla, all I think about is his amazing scream. And I always think I'm going to download it as my ringtone, but then I don't because I know that's going to be so fucking annoying.
It's iconic.
It is
iconic. The Godzilla roar is dynamite. It is
You ain't
dynamite.
wrong.
Can't go wrong with that. Any last thoughts of Destroy All Monsters?
I no longer have any thoughts in regards to Destroy All Monsters.
Nor do I. So let's move on then, shall we? Thank you very much.
Shall we?
You can find us across social media. We're on Blue Sky, we're on Threads, we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram. You can be watching us on YouTube at this very moment.
Maybe.
Maybe. You can email us the podcast that wouldn't die at Gmail. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere the finer podcasts are available. So don't forget to like, share, rate, and review, won't you?
Won't you please?
Aaron, what is your social media situation?
Oh my God, I'm mentally ill, and I'm so used to being on my personal Instagram that I keep freaking posting our stuff on the wrong Instagram.
Yep.
God damn it. And then Kevin tells me I've already gotten 5 likes and I have to delete it. And of course I didn't save it, so then I have to recreate the whole mother effing thing. My personal Instagram is the Cult of Aaron. Join the cult. I'm on Artsy and First Dibs for some fancy artwork. And I have a piece of work coming out in the fall edition of Analog Forever magazine. Woo!
So check out all that good stuff.
Check it out.
Check it out. As you know, we like to share our friends' thoughts and feelings across the interwebs. Aaron, what's the latest? What are they saying?
All right, so this week we were boosting our episode on The Witch, which I'm now slightly obsessed with and feel like I'm probably gonna watch it again this week.
People love it.
Our sister Brianna said it's one of her favorite movies, and now that I've decided there is no witch, I feel like I need to rewatch it with that in mind.
Okay.
All right, so Oh my God. Stupid. Don't show me movies. When I go to my photos, I would like to just see my photos and not have to scroll like a mother effer. All right. This is, like I said, in regards to The Witch. And we're talking about Black Phillip, of course, which is the greatest goat in goat lore.
He's the goat of goats.
Richard Roberts says goats are just weird anyway. Never trusted goats. The baby goats are cool, but not when their horns get dangerous. And I said, it's the eyes. It's only natural, says Hobb. Next, we have, you had to make a choice. The question was, what do you say? What would oh my God, I'm losing the ability to have speech. Many strokes. What would I choose if Black Phillip came to you? And someone, something wrong, 467, make me a Saiyan. He's got to speak to my inner nerd. Do you know what a Saiyan is?
No.
Neither do I. Saiyan.
I thought you were going to say something.
No. Convict 3D 157455 says the most expensive and best spec ever PC. You would trade it all for a computer. Okay. Cinnamon Reese's says a Western bacon double cheeseburger.
I'm not sure.
And Ergo said he would trade it all for butter.
Good stuff. Thank you very much, friends. Next week, we're discussing the old classic, the original Stepford Wives, starring Catherine Ross, Paula Prentice, Tina Louise from Gilligan's Island. She's in this bad boy.
Boom. It is the best. It is the most important Stepford Wives of all Stepford Wives. And that's why I think Nicole Kidman is trying to bury it. Richard Benjamin is in it. It's all kinds of rando people that were huge in the 70s.
Paula Prentice married to Richard Benjamin. Did you know that?
Yeah. He was not hot.
I always kind of had a thing for Paula Prentice, if I'm being honest.
I'm like, you always had a thing for
Richard Benjamin. I really loved him in Love at First Bite. Anywho,
dude, we gotta put that on the list. I was obsessed with Love at First Bite in junior high.
That movie, it's like in the early 80s, but it's still clearly in like the 70s, where it's like they're going to like discos and shit. That movie, man.
Anywho, who was the dude? What was his name? Hamilton. George Hamilton. I met him at the Palm Springs Mall, and he didn't fall in love with me like I thought. He was very impatient with me. I was like, oh, crushed again.
Anywho, we're not doing Love at First Bite. We're doing the Stepford. So go ahead. Here's the thing. I scoured the internet to see where to watch the original Stepford Wives. Again, don't watch the Nicole Kidman one. We're talking about Catherine Ross.
That's
I think it's 1975, thereabouts. The only place you can watch this is on YouTube. YouTube.
Bastards.
So that's good and bad. You don't have to pay for it. It's all on YouTube, but it's YouTube. So you don't get all the bells and whistles that maybe you were hoping for. So anyway, check out.
It's not like when we watched Inferno and it was somebody recording it off their TV, was it?
No, hopefully. No, I started watching it last night, and of course I fell asleep. And it's watchable. It's imminently watchable. So check that out. Send in your favorite scenes, favorite quotes, comments, and questions. And let us know what you think. And maybe we will talk about it on the show. So.
All right.
Thank you very much. And be well.
This says it's on Prime.
That's a lie. And be well, Aaron.
Be well.